How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits, and you know what time it is. It is time for the joke of the day. If you're new to this channel, we do this 5 days out of the week. Maybe you had a long, maybe you had a stressful day, or maybe it was in market conditions while you came to watch this video, plus hear one of my corny jokes. Here it comes. What kind of plant can roar? A dandelion. Get it? A dandelion roar. Anyways, what we're going to be talking about today is OCGN, which continued to have a pullback inside of the market. Like I was telling you guys before in previous videos, if you were looking to get into a position, it would not be the right time. You want to wait to make sure it could find a base. You do not want to be in the middle of a falling knife, and of course, we can see the downtrend is continuing. Even inside of the Discord, we have members who have been buying puts on OCGN, taking advantage of the downside so they can have some profits so they can invest back in it later when it comes down to a price that is more reasonable, and of course, being able to make sure that they can maximize their average cost. I'll put up a screenshot somewhere so you guys can see that for yourself. But I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know those key levels so we can have a good idea of what the stock is looking like. And then we're going to go on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and as well as the short interest information. The reason why this is important in regards to the short interest, it does contribute to the volatility you're going to see in the stock. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know what was the buying and as well as the selling behavior like on the institutional side and as well as on the retail side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for OCGN. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $7.26, being down 5.10%. On the low, it tested $7.18, and then on the high, testing $7.90. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 13.849 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days being at 23.809 million shares. So you can see right away we did end up having below average volume on the day, and we had some pressure on the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is right around 39.91. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 21-day EMA, as well as for the 50-day, the 200-day, and the 100-day. So like I was talking about in the video yesterday, we have been on quite the downtrend, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues, and that's exactly what we saw today. So we ended up testing $7.18. So we end up having a further pullback going into tomorrow. Then of course you're going to want to see it hold up right here around $7.08, and then the next level you'd want to see hold up would be right here around $6.91. Now, as far as for the bullish case scenario, we ended up seeing a high of $7.90, and it's not strange knowing that we have the 100-day being at $7.95. So this is going to be an area of resistance for OCGN. So for us to actually pick up and have momentum above this level, it can bring us back to the $8 level, but of course there will be some resistance. This will be a psychological area, so you would need volume coming into the stock to push it up even further. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for OCGN. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate close positions. So when we take a look at to date for the November the 18th, we can see here we have conservative allocation fund retail class that purchased 90 shares. We also have them purchasing 59 shares, and this is the global allocation fund retail class. We also have Murfield fund retail class that purchased just over 2,000 shares with 2,173. We also have balance fund retail class that purchased 894 shares, and moderate allocation fund retail class that purchased 250 shares. We also have here Spectrum Fund retail class that purchased 521 shares. We also have a closed position from Shorehaven Wealth Partners LLC. And then you can see here we have Dynamic Allocation Fund retail class that purchased 443 shares. And then we have Sentiva Capital LP. Wait a second, we covered that yesterday, but they ended up getting 10,608 shares. So you can see right there, these positions are not that large from what we have seen in the past, but keep in mind these are just the filing dates. All right, so now when we take a look at the short interest, the dark pool short volume ratio is at 49.70%, and then for the dark pool short volume being just over 3.16 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 2.5 million, updated 23 minutes ago, and then for the short ball fee rate, it is at 1.91%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 16th, it was at 48.35, and now for the close for yesterday, it was at 49.70. So we saw that shorts have increased their position. So it's going to be very interesting to see what those numbers will be later on in the evening, but it does contribute to the overall volatility that you see inside of the stock, and it's why I want to make sure you guys have a strategy and you know what your entries and as well as your exits are going to be. And if you do believe in the long-term prospects, you want to make sure that you're being patient. So now let's jump into the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for OCGN. So we can see here on the inflow, it was 17.71, and then on the outflow, it was 25.36. When we take a look at the breakdown even further, we had 0 on the large. On the medium, we had 11.45, and then on the small, we had 6.26. Then on the outflow side, you could see on the large, it was 0.76, and then on the medium, it was 16.81, and then on the small, we had 7.79. When we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, for November the 18th, which is today, you can see a negative on the outflow of 761.23. When we take a look at the breakdown even further, we're going to look at the small scale orders, which tends to represent the retail side. You can see we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the medium side, we had more selling than we had buying. And of course, when we take a look at the large, we had more selling than we had buying. But keep in mind, there's still demand for OCGN shares because we did have some inflows. Now, when we take a look at the turnover ratio, though, it was right around 7.03%. So of course, this gives us a good indication of what was happening alongside with the order flow. There was a lot of selling, people getting out of their position. Also, the markets have been choppy, and when you see a stock that's been downtrending for days on end, of course, people are going to start saying, well, you know what, I don't want to be in this play. But also to be clear, though, there's many people who are continuing to hold on to their shares because the turnover ratio could be a lot higher. So that's just one thing you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind, and knowing as far as a position is concerned, you have a strategy. So now let's jump into the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, I want to send a shout out to everyone who has decided to be patient and not jump into the play, especially not in the middle of a falling knife. We saw it get to around $17 a share, and since then it has been selling off. Many people have been saying, well, you know what, you need to average down when it was at $10, $11, even at the $9 and so forth. And I say, you know what, that is not a smart thing to do. You do not want to start averaging down while the stock is falling. You want to make sure it finds a base, and then when it finds that base, and if it's far off from the cost of where you have, then you can think about averaging down. We also do know that this play is catalyst driven. So if you don't have any catalyst coming through the stock, of course, it's going to have a lot of selling pressure. And then when you combine that with the short interest, what do you think is going to happen? The stock is going to continue to bleed. And also when we went on Fintel looking at that short interest information, you can see the short interest is also continuing to increase. So I just want to make sure that you're keeping that in mind and you're doing your homework and you're doing your due diligence so you're not left being a bag holder. And another point that I want to bring up, I am not saying that I do not believe in the long-term prospects of ocugen bringing covaxin to North America. I really do want to see this, but at the same time, you need to put your emotions to the side and look at what's happening inside of the market. At the end of the day, we're putting our money in stocks so we can get a return on our investment. So if a stock is going in a certain direction, why fight it? Why get emotional? Why band together as a community, as a group, and say, well, you know what, this is not fair. What the hell is going on? At the end of the day, the stock is going to move how it's going to move, and it's going to move alongside of what the market actually believes. The market doesn't care about your emotions. It doesn't care about your feelings. So I just want to make sure that you completely understand that. Again, it is separate. You have the company and then you have the stock. They are two completely different things. I do believe in the company, but in regards to the stock, I know where the direction is going. And this is why inside of the Discord, when people ask me that question or when we talk about it, hey, what is the right move to go with when it comes to OCGN? I'll tell them straight up. It's either you can go with calls because this is what it looks like, or you can go with puts because at the end of the day, we're in the market to make some money. And as far as OCGN is concerned, I know it takes a lot of patience, and I will not be taking an entry until it ends up finding a base, and then we can go from there. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.